The overall strategy concerning the existence of the Illuminati was delineated by Weishaupt. He said this, quote, "Control the very fact of our existence. If they discover us, conceal our real objective by profession of benevolence. If our real objective is perceived, pretend to disband and relinquish the whole thing, but assume another name and put forth new agents." And that is what they have done over the years.
Now let's go back to the events that followed the rape of our Constitution by the passage of the Federal Reserve Act of the 16th Amendment. It was in 1908 that Schiff decided the time had come for his seizure of our money system. In the fall of that year, they assembled in secret conclave at the Jekyll Island Hunt Club, owned by J.P. Morgan at Jekyll Island, Georgia. Among those present were J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, Paul Warburg, in short, all of the international bankers in America, all of them members of the hierarchy of the Illuminati's great conspiracy. A week later, they emerged with what they called the Federal Reserve System. Senator Aldrich was the stooge who was to railroad it through Congress. They would first have to plant their man, an obedient stooge, in the White House to sign the Federal Reserve Act into law. With Wilson completely under their control, the masterminds of the great conspiracy put in motion their next, and what they hoped would be their final steps to achieve their one world government. The first of those steps was to be World War I. Why war? Simple. The only excuse for a one world government is that it will supposedly ensure peace. The only thing that can make people cry for peace is war. History records that World War I was precipitated by a trivial incident. That incident was the assassination of an Austrian archduke, arranged by the Illuminati masterminds. The war followed. By 1917, the conspirators had achieved their primary objective. All of Europe was in a state of destitution. All the peoples were war-weary and crying for peace. And the outcome, too, was all set. It was to come as soon as the United States would be hurled in on the side of the Allies. And that was all set to happen immediately after Wilson's re-election. Thus, when it was proposed by Wilson to set up a League of Nations to ensure peace, all the great nations jumped on that bandwagon without even stopping to read the fine print in that insurance policy. That is all but one, the United States, the very one that Schiff and his co-conspirators least expected would balk. He found himself faced by a solidly united people and by a loyal press whose only ideology was Americanism and the American way of life. And that was the end of the League of Nations as a corridor into one world government. Actually, that was the format set by the Illuminati and Nathan Rothschild at the turn of the 19th century. They first maneuvered all of Europe into the Napoleonic Wars. Then the Congress in Vienna, which they, and particularly Rothschild, planned to transform into a League of Nations, which was to have been the housing for their one world government. That was the format the House of Rothschild and Jacob Schiff decided to employ to achieve their objective in 1914. Of course, they knew that that same format had failed in 1814, but they theorized that was only because the Tsar of Russia had torpedoed that scheme. They'd make sure that after the New World War, they were conspiring there'd be no Tsar of Russia around to throw monkey wrenches into the machinery, and the Russian Bolsheviki were to be their instruments in this particular plot.
The following list shows names of some of the international Jewish bankers who bankrolled the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Jacob Schiff. Today it is estimated that Jacob's grandson, John Schiff, sank about $20 million into the final triumph of Bolshevism in Russia. Grondenheim, Max Brottung, Felix Warburg, Otto Kahn, Mortimer Schiff, S.H. Henner, Lazare Brothers, Gunzburg Bank, Bayer & Co., Nyon Baron of Stockholm, Rothschilds of London. Under Jewish pressure, this report was destroyed by the US State Department. The British government knew of secret Jewish plans. One of their spies said, unless Bolshevism is nipped in the bud, it is bound to spread over the whole world, as it is organised and worked by Jews, whose object is to destroy for their own ends the existing order of things, break down the old order and bring in the new world order. Fundamentally, Judaism is anti-Christian.
To the crux of the whole one world government plot and the maneuvering necessary to create another League of Nations to house such a government. As I have already stated, the conspirators knew that only another world war was vital for the success of their plot. Clinton wrote,
my people's at the spot, popping bottles of that water, skipping on that fast food, picking veggies out my garden. I go hard on eating good, and I put that on my mama. You a wanna, I'm a chopper, living longer with no drama. Call me John Deere, shawty, eat me growing like a farmer.